Little House in the Big Woods was written by Laura Ingalls Wilder. It's about her family growing up in Wisconsin in 1871. Laura was 5 years old at the time, and she must have had an amazing memory, because I could never write 200 pages about what happened when I was 5.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
This book has a simple writing style, which is good for younger children. The story is told with childlike wonder, imbued with a strong sense of comfort and coziness. While it is well written, it took me about 2 chapters to get used to the writing style. I would understand if some readers found this book to be extremely boring. The pacing is very slow, and a lot of the book focuses on pioneer chores. For example, they spend 5 pages making cheese and 4 pages making straw hats. The process is described in great detail from start to finish. Some people will be bored by that. It does have good educational value. I learned a lot about pioneer life and how they did things. My favorite was learning what curds and whey are. I've always wondered about that ever since reading the Little Miss Muffet nursery rhyme. The illustrations by Garth Williams are fantastic. They do a great job of supplementing the story. As a content warning, I would note that the book contains 3 instances of corporal punishment being used on children, which is in keeping with the time period. One song at the end of chapter 5 has racist lyrics, which again is in keeping with the time period. Overall, it is a fairly nice book. I can see why it was popular enough to get several sequels. It is boring and old-fashioned in places, but that's also part of its charm. I give Little House in the Big Woods an 8 out of 10. The rest of the video will be my summary of the book. There is no major story or plot. It's more of a description of what happened to Laura's family that particular year. The family begins by preparing for winter. Since you can't hunt in winter, they have to prepare meat by salting it and smoking it. They spend 5 pages preparing deer meat, then they spend 9 pages butchering a pig. Chapter 2 starts with Pa shooting a bear, and I don't think it was a good idea to start with 3 different animal meat scenes. That made me think the entire book would be about hunting, similar to the Swiss Family Robinson book. Laura and her big sister Mary help Ma with various chores at home. Each day they do a different chore. Laura's favorite chore is churning butter, which lasts for 5 pages. Laura loves it when Pa comes home at night. They play games with him, and he plays wonderful songs on his fiddle. Sometimes he tells fun stories, like the time Grandpa was chased by a panther, or the time when Pa was a boy, he thought he was being chased by a dangerous animal, but it ended up being a harmless owl. The stories were my favorite part of the book because they were stories, with characters, not merely a description of pioneer chores. Like Hansel and Gretel, or Little Red Riding Hood, most of the stories have morals, such as children should always obey adults, and if you don't follow the rules, you'll probably get eaten by a wild animal. I suppose that was a good lesson for kids to know when they lived in the woods with dozens of deadly animals around. Some relatives visit for Christmas. The kids get lots of food, including a candy stick, and Laura gets a rag doll as her present. Aunt Eliza tells the story of how her dog acted savagely, refusing to let anyone leave the house. She thought the dog had gone mad, but she later realized the dog was trying to protect them from a panther. Every Sunday is a day of rest. The girls don't like having to dress up and do religious work. Pa explains that keeping the Sabbath was a lot stricter when Grandpa was young. He tells the story of one Sunday when Grandpa and his brothers snuck out of the house to go sledding. They were caught when they accidentally crashed into a pig. One day, Pa leaves to trade furs in town. Ma goes to milk the cows at night. She slaps a naughty cow that's in the yard. She's shocked when she realizes it's a bear, not a cow. Pa also has a misadventure with a bear. His path home was blocked by a large bear that wouldn't move. He tried everything he could to get rid of it. only to realize it wasn't a bear, it was an old tree stump. The longest story of the book is 2 chapters long, with the sugar snow. A large group of relatives goes to Grandma's house, where they harvest sap and make maple syrup for the year. Laura is fascinated with the way the older women dress up for the party. They dance all night long. Grandma and Uncle George compete to see who can jig the longest. In spring, the family travels to the nearest town, which is 7 miles away. Laura is amazed to see many houses and a large store with ever so many things inside. Laura and Mary argue over which of them has better color hair. Laura gets so mad, she slaps Mary. Pa has to punish Laura, even though he agrees with her that brown hair is best. After all, that's his hair color. 11-year-old cousin Charlie is forced to work for the first time. Charlie misbehaves. He hides the tools, ignores the adults, and screams for attention. Like the boy who cried wolf, he pretends to be in danger 3 times. The adults ignore him the 4th time, when he's in real danger. He's attacked by a nest of yellow jackets and is so badly stung, he can't move or talk. In autumn, they prepare pumpkins and corn. Men come with a threshing machine powered by 8 horses. It is complicated and a lot of work to run it, but Pa is glad to have it because it does a week of work in a single day. The book comes to a close when Pa spends the day hunting at a deer lick. Every time an animal comes by, Pa thinks of a reason to let it live. He plays a good night song, and Laura goes to sleep happily. The end.